Now, we've seen this bearish trend over the last fortnight, even some would argue, and we've heard reasons being explained from problems in the coalition government, risk sentiment because of Egypt. What do you attribute it to?
Basically, we've seen that after January, February, we normally have companies doing their end-of-year results, and they come in March. So we are seeing a lot of investors holding off. Adopting a wait-and-see attitude as we await for the results to come off. Yes, the factors that you mentioned affect, and I also would like to add that we have foreign investors are also holding off. But right. Basically, after March, we expect a market correction to happen. Okay, even though foreign investors are holding off, they really account for some of the volumes being traded at the moment, and we've seen them back in the market with inflows of something like 70% in terms of the daily average, but they tend to be focusing on the blue chips. So the counters that seem to be trading per day: Safaricom, Equity Bank, Co-op Bank, KCB, Kenya Power. What are the fundamentals that make these ones the stocks to look into? You've seen, as a foreigner, there's also the aspect of safety. You not really buy into. At first, as a foreigner, you are trading in uncharted waters. You really don't have much control over what is happening. So they would go for counters that they consider safe. And in this instance, the counters considered safe are the blue chips. They have good fundamentals. Basically, they have good management, good corporate governance. Yeah, good profits, good dividends, and so on. Okay, let's talk about the gainers for today before we look at some of the variables as to which of the blue chips to buy. We have seen Pan-African up a little bit today, CFC, CNG. Just explain to us what's been happening with regards to some of those counters. Pan-Africa had very good media results. I believe that the rise is because of the speculation expected as they do their end-of-year results. So basically, equity sector has been doing good. We expect Pan-Africa to do very good end-of-year results. So I would say the rise is actually based on fundamentals. All right, now let's look at the blue chips and other stocks that you may find interesting and a value for money. In terms of the earnings ratios and the book multiples on the banks, which is the one to buy? I would still be buying equity. I'm still bullish about equity and housing finance. Though NBK is also a good counter, trading at a low price to earnings ratio. We've got news that we have foreign investors. We have news that the government is selling its stake to a strategic investor. Right. So going forward, we expect investors to derive value from that counter also. Right. Right, news yesterday was that TransCentury could be listing on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Shareholders have approved that proposition. This makes it the second big investment company to enter the market. How's it going to shake things up? Because Centum's been doing particularly well, but what Centum has tended to do is focus on illiquid assets, particularly in the insurance side, the logistics side. How will TransCentury change the complexion when it arrives? First, we'll have something to compare with. Centum has not had any comparison on the market for a long time, and I believe it's time that we got some comparison. Again, TransCentury shares news, it's being reported in the media that the price is coming to around that the management would like the price to trade at around 2,000. That's quite high. Really, the local retail investors will not be able to take up that. So we still expect focus to be on Centum. In terms of the ICT companies, we've seen some results coming in from East African Cables. They've had a few problems, particularly in Tanzania. It's knocked off a bit, about 50% on their balance sheet. But is there upside to some of the ICT players in the market? The ICT sector has been under intense pressure. We've seen Access Kenya coming under so much pressure, Safaricom. But then again, you see, Cables works on the other end of the spectrum. They are a supplier to the ICT sector. Their main threats being Chinese imports, which basically the management, which it's not a company-specific factor. It's a factor at the national level. So really, going forward, we expect East African Cables to show some recovery. You've seen the price has been up. The bonus issue. As an investor, I'm bullish about it.
All right, let's talk about what's happening on the fixed income market side. And today we're going to be focusing a lot on bonds generally on the program. There have been some attractive bond rates for Kenya, but the argument is that institutional investors are not subscribing. Why is that?
Most institutional investors invested last year when interest rates were coming down. But now we are having a scenario where this year the interest rates have gone up. So most of the investments are still underwater, that is, and in loss-making territory. So really, once we have the market, once we have the interest rates going down, we expect to see some increased activity. Again, remember it's January. Activity hasn't really picked up, so we can't say they're keeping off that much.